Ayan. Hello, good morning, everyone. How are you today? I'm Myrza Season, and welcome to Join Lang Nang Join. We're together. We will explore how we can keep saying yes to life so we can enjoy all the great experiences it can offer and live the life we want to live. How is everyone today? Thank you to everyone joining. Hi, Eileen. Hi, Mary Grace. Hello, Anna. Thank you all for joining, and thank you for being here to watch me talk about today's topic, which is the life lessons of 2020 that I learned and that we all learned. Diba? Actually, I said earlier top 10, pero parang ang dami. So, top 20 na lang. Aminin, ang dami nating natutunan in 2020. I mean, my God, when it comes to the year that was, talk about the year that was, lahat na lang ng pwedeng mangyari sa 2020, nangyari yata, di ba? From pandemic to, I don't know, Taal volcano, ashfall, yun yung umpisa, di ba? Tas parang sunod na. And then it's a global thing and the whole world saw everything happen and so many people died and talagang parang the world was in turmoil and chaos and everything that we did not expect happened in this year. And so with a lot of chaos comes a lot of learning also. So today, hihimayan natin yan isa-isa. So lahat ng pwedeng pagdaanan na yata natin eh. But the most important thing about the challenges that life throws us is what we learned from each one. So, yes, sobra disaster, said Eileen Solar. Diba? Sobrang disaster. Pero out of disaster comes enlightenment also. And then today we're gonna talk about that. So I'm gonna greet everyone first. Hi, Lizette. Hi, Zingar V126. Hi, Mimpot29. Zingar V. Kayo, anong mga natutunan nyo in 2020? Please type it in the chat box and then we can talk about it, di ba? If I like your topic, I'll add it also. Hello, Alfred. Good morning, then. Hello to everyone watching. Dami nyo na. Okay. So, let's start with I like the quote of, I don't know if any of you caught my Wednesday morning spotlight stream where I talked about fear. And then one person whose quote I highlighted was Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs, the founder of Apple, because he died of cancer a few years back. And what he said really struck me. He said that remembering I'll be dead soon is the most important tool I've ever encountered to help me make the big choices in life. Almost everything, all external expectations, all pride, all fear of embarrassment or failure, these things just fall away in the face of death, leaving only what is truly important. And I think 2020 was the best opportunity to realize what is really truly important. A lot of us lost loved ones, a lot of us lost jobs, sources of livelihood. We were isolated from friends, we were isolated from the ordinary day-to-day normal life that we once led. And parang it was such a shock to all of us, but I think in its place also came a lot of realization. So the first realization I want to talk about is, what did we learn? Life is short, di ba? Parang in an instant, we lost people we loved. We realized there's death all around us. We realized, pwede tayo talagang mamatay anytime. I mean, just exposing ourselves to the virus could ultimately lead to death. And so, what did this make us realize and force us to realize? For me, I realized, nako, life is really short and you better set goals. You better set goals in order to chart the kind of life na gusto mo, di ba? During this time, anong na-realize natin tungkol sa buhay natin? Ano yung mga gusto natin sanang gawin na hindi pa natin nagagawa, pinaprocrastinate natin, di ba? Let's say, some of you have always dreamed of something, whether it's putting up your own business or doing the thing that you really love instead of what you are forced to do. 'Di ba? Parang bigla tayong namulat na, oh my God, kung pwede na akong mamatay bukas, anong dapat kong gawin? So parang it's good to set goals. I think a lot of us really sat down and thought about our lives and thought of all the things we wanted to do. And I think if you haven't done that in these 8 months, now is a good time as any to sit down and write down all your goals, all the things you want to achieve. Kasi nga, di natin alam, may pandemic pa rin. Next year, may vaccine na, pero we don't know gaano katagal yun makakarating dito, di ba? So, yun. Life is short. Better set goals. Hello to user 6529780 for following me. Everyone, you can follow me. Follow me in Kumu at Myrza Season. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, same. YouTube also. And my newest website, myrza.com. So I hope you follow me there. Kayo, ano pang na-realize nyo about anong gusto nyong gawin in life? Ano yung mga gusto nyo sanang gawin na hindi nyo nagagawa? Parang biglang napaisip tayong lahat, di ba? Ano bang gusto natin gawin? For me, nauna yung bago pa mag-pandemic, nauna sa akin yung pag-realize ko ano pang gusto ko sa buhay. Kasi for a very long time, I was an editor and editorial director for many publications, some of which you probably know, Cosmopolitan, before Marie Claire, there was FemaleNetwork.com, Spot.ph. So for a very long time, I was working there and I was very happy with my job. I was very fulfilled. But when my best friend died in 2016, I realized really how short life is. And then my father-in-law also died 2 or 3 years ago. I forgot that. I think 2 years ago. And then he died young. I mean, he died in his mid-70s. But for me, that was young. So I realized if people start dying in their 70s, and hopefully I will live longer because I try to be healthy, I don't have very much time for the rest of my dreams, right? For me to achieve the rest of my dreams and the rest of the things that I always wanted to do. We get so busy earning a living, trying to, I guess, support our families. I'm lucky because I don't really have to support anyone, but for those of us who have to support other people, it's easy to set aside our dreams and all the things we want to do because of this. And I think when you realize that life is short, then you really have to try and make changes. So the next one I want to tell you about is this one. Life is short, you should set goals, but then life is so unpredictable, it's uncertain, di ba? Ano yung mga nangyari sa mga goals natin na sinet natin noong 2019, di ba? Ang joke nga, walang kwenta naman yung 2020 planner, tapon na nga yan. Kasi nga, lahat ng mga pinagplanuhan natin sa buhay noong 2020, parang na-cancel lahat kasi wala kang magagawa, di ba? Nagsara yung mga business, nagsara yung mga stuff that happens in normal life. So medyo yung unpredictability and uncertainty of life, para tayong nasampal sa mukha na parang, plano, ayan ang plano mo. So what did we learn in 2020? Life is unpredictable, it's uncertain. We have to be flexible. You have to pivot when you need to, right? You have to keep adapting to the situation. And I think ang mga Pinoy, ang galing-galing mag-pivot, ang galing-galing mag-adapt. So we saw a lot of pivoting and adapting and rethinking of a lot of businesses, di ba? Nung nagsara yung mga restaurants, kanya-kanyang isip kung paano mag-pivot, kanya-kanyang isip kung paano mag-adapt. So biglang nag-change yung business models, di ba? Since nakasara yung mga restaurants, takeout and delivery yung naging norm. And then, syempre yung mga delivery services nagdagsa, di ba, nagkaroon ng malaking demand. So, kailangan laging handa tayong mag-pivot, handa tayong mag-adapt kung saan man kailangan. How about you guys? Paano kayo nag-pivot? Paano kayo naging flexible about the challenges that were thrown your way? Anong binago nyo, di ba? Parang biglang, for example, dun sa live events industry, marami tayong friends dyan sa live events industry. Suddenly, artists, musicians, hindi makapag-perform, mga sound technician, di ba? Sa dinami-dami ng mga events, concerts, mga palabas, even mga performances or gigs sa mga bar, biglang wala, close na lahat. So, ang dami nag-pivot, biglang lumabas lahat ng mga cooking skills. I know some performers who suddenly had a food business, di ba? Nagtayo sila ng ibang klaseng negosyo. It really lets you stop and think and take stock of anong pwede mong gawin instead, di ba? Let's say yung skill mo biglang hindi na in demand. I mean, malay ba natin na sa isang idlip, hindi na kailangan yung skill na kung saan tayo nahasa or kung saan tayo magaling. Kailangan mag-isip ka ng bagong gagawin. How about kayo? Anong mga bago niyong napag-isipang pagkakitaan, di ba? Parang lahat nag-buy and sell, di ba? Lahat gumawa ng mga iba-ibang klaseng dilihensya. Diyan ng Pinoy creative magaling tayo dyan kung paano mag-pivot. So yun, life is uncertain and then you pivot when needed. I think ngayon, magaling na tayo dyan. So pagdating ng 2021, di ba? Alam na natin kung paano tayo mag-adjust, paano tayo magiging flexible. Hindi pwedeng hindi talaga pwedeng sarado yung isip sa mga ibang klaseng pwedeng gawin, di ba? So until mag-return yung life back to normal, and then they keep saying the new normal, di ba? Kasi ano na yung normal? Ano na yung normal, di ba? Bago na talaga yung mundo, bago na yung pamamalakad ng pamumuhay, bago na yung ways of doing things, hindi na natin alam. So, kailangan very, very adaptable tayo. Hindi na pwedeng, my way or the highway, hindi na pwedeng mag-insist na, hindi, ganito lang yung paraan kung ganyan lang ako di ba? Ito lang yung gusto kong gawin Hindi pwede. Iba na ngayon. We really have to be flexible and pivot. Hello to Crisel Bautista. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you to Kuisha. Thank you for the halo-halo. Thank you to everyone for joining in. How about you guys? Anong mga pagpipivot na ginawa nyo? In fact, a lot of my friends nga, pinupuri ko dahil ang galing nila. Ang tawag ko sa kanila, Kembot Queen, di ba? Konting Kembot pa. Meron akong friend na makeup artist. Pangalan niya Dave Grona, if you're watching. Hi, Dave. Magaling siya na hair and makeup artist. Pero wala nang events. Walang mga photoshoot, di ba? Parang natigil lahat. So, anong ginawa niya? Nakikita ko na lang, nagtitinda siya ng ensaymada ba yun? Or kung ano man yung specialty ng hometown niya. Nakikita ko na lang sa feed niya. Kahon-kahon ng mga binibenta niya. And then, sabi lang niya, PM me for orders, di ba? So, pinupuri ko siya. Sabi ko sa kanya, Oy, Dave, galing, Kembot Queen, di ba? Kailangan talagang kumembot. Isip tayo kung anong pwedeng gawin instead of yung dati nating ginagawa. Next is, ito ang natutunan natin, appreciation, di ba? If you know that life is short, and before you know it, I have a lot of friends who lost parents. I lost a lot. I lost a few of my friends also to COVID and other ailments that were not helped by the situation. And so you really appreciate who and what you have, di ba? For those of us na nakulong in our homes with our family. I don't want to say nakulong kasi in the beginning, syempre annoying, di ba? Lalo na kung maliit yung tinitirahan nyo, wala kang space or time alone. But then I think we realize na who do we really have in life? It's our family and our close friends. So you really learn to appreciate who and what you have. For example, for me, my parents live uh, maybe 15 minutes away, but uh, even if they're not that far in the business of our lives, minsan sobrang rare namin magkita. And then all my siblings sa US na sila nakatira. So, more so, wala masyadong communication, di ba? Kung may uuwi man, madalang lang, maybe once a year or maybe not even. We don't really communicate except for Facebook. But then, nung nakikita ko na parang, oh my gosh, talagang any moment pwede tayong mawala or mamatay. Parang nagkusa na ako to set up a weekly, puputol ako. Kinusa ko na to set up a weekly Sunday chat with my parents and my siblings. Video chat every 9 a.m. every Sunday. Weekly yon. Kasi parang naawa rin ako sa parents ko dahil lonely sila, nakakulong lang sila sa bahay, wala silang outlet masyado. So, nagkaroon kami ng weekly Sunday chat. And then, napansin namin, wow, mas nagko-communicate pa kami ngayon na may pandemic kesa noon na we took it for granted, di ba? So, nakapag-bonding din kami every week, every Sunday. Inasahan nito ng parents ko para makausap kami. In a way na, I don't think nagkausap-usap kami ng ganon ka-close in our lives, di ba? Kasi how often naman do we really talk to our family members in a meaningful and touching way, di ba? After a while, medyo siguro lumalabas na yung hindi maiwasang konting inisan, di ba? So, ngayon, baka every 2 weeks na lang, hindi na lang every week. Kasi medyo nakakalabas na rin sila ng konti. So, hindi na sila ganun ka-lonely. Pero yun nga, you appreciate what you have. And then, you know, this is the time to show and tell people that you love them. Don't wait na may mangyari. Don't take things for granted. So many of my friends who lost their parents, ang dami nilang regret about, like, I wish I told him or her that I loved him or her, di ba? Too late na, di ba? So now is the time to do it. Alam ko minsan medyo cringe-worthy, di ba? Parang, ay, ang cheesy. Pero, anong mawawala? Di ba? Baka papahiya ka ba? Wala namang mawawala talaga. I mean, sabihin mo na, and to my friends, I really try to encourage them kahit na just a little thing like liking their posts, showing support, di ba? It helps. I mean, as we know, everyone's going through a lot of mental health challenges. All the isolation and all these changes are really making people crazy and making them lonely and anxious. So show your friends that you care. Oh, thank you for the flowers. Show your friends that you care. Show appreciation in so many ways that you can. There's really not a shortage of ways in showing people in your life that you love them and care for them. Walang mawawala. Matatawa lang sila or they'll say, cheesy mo naman. Ano ngayon? At least na-express mo na, di ba? Hindi mo talaga alam. And then also appreciate what you have. It's good to be grateful. Which brings us to the next. Ayan. I'm sure all of us are grateful. Adopt an attitude of gratitude. Hi, Nadine Elise. Thank you for the lechon and thank you for tuning in. Maybe you have a question. Type it in the comments. Nadine Elise sent Miss Communiverse ×1. What does that mean? Maybe I'll find out soon enough. Hello to Rance Paul. Myra, I'm Myrza with a Z, so just add a Z. A lot of people cannot pronounce my name, so they say Myrna or Myra or sometimes Marsha or sometimes Mazda. I know it's hard to spell, but it's Myrz. Oh, Nadine Elise said it's a bit bigger gift too. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, where was I? Be grateful, adopt an attitude of gratitude. A lot of us tend to, well, in the old world, we love to complain, right? Complain, 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 complain about everything. Everything is unsatisfactory. We're unhappy about so many things. Thank you to Jen, Laure, Bidanella for following me. We tend to really find fault and find irritation and annoyance in so many things. And I'm sure this is the time for us to have really appreciated or thank the universe for our blessings, right? What are we grateful for? I'm grateful that I have a roof over my head. I'm grateful that I'm waking up each morning. Some people cannot breathe. Some people will not wake up tomorrow. I am grateful that I'm with my husband during lockdown, and it could have been worse. I know a lot of people have been alone and they're struggling with being alone, and I hope they've reached out to friends and are somehow communicating and bonding with friends using technology. So even they have a lot to be thankful for. I know a lot of our countrymen barely have anything to eat, and yet I'm sure they are grateful when they do get something to eat. If you take stock of all the things that you should be grateful for, you will feel very lucky indeed. I know I feel very lucky indeed. I'm very grateful I have this opportunity to talk to all of you. So I'm grateful to Kumu and Nadine and Angela and Ange. I'm grateful for the opportunity to get my message across and to talk to all of you and to meet all of you. Thank you to Crisel Bautista for following me, and Kenzie, thank you for following me. Lois Esconde Baluyot sent a halo halo. Yeah, thank you for following me, and you can see below all the places where you can follow me, especially on Kumu at Myrza Season. So, how are you? What are you grateful about? Have you ever thought about that? What are you grateful for, and what are you thankful? I mean, not not so you can have a sense of what they call schadenfreude, where you parang natutuwa ka dahil mas lamang ka sa iba or mas nakakaangat ka. Pero parang appreciate mo lang kung ano yung grateful ka about. I know a lot of our friends and maybe family are going through mental health crises, and there's a lot of suicide or suicidal tendencies on the rise because some people don't know how to cope anymore. And we try and be a good friend to our friends so that their mental health is in check and their anxiety is in check. Sometimes when uh, let's say I have a friend who is really driving me nuts or really acting up or showing behavior that is really, not pleasant for me, I just try and put myself in his or her shoes and think of their mental health. And then I'm grateful they are alive, actually, because when you come to think of it, so many people take their own lives because they have hidden anxiety or depression that we don't know about. And then when I look back on all the people or even famous celebrities who we thought were happy or had it all, and then they took their own lives, makes you realize everyone is going through something. And I am just grateful that they're alive and they're, existing in our world. And so that's how I try to be grateful that they're in our lives and touching us in so many ways. What else did we learn? We don't need much, especially material things, right? Na-discover nyo by being trapped at home, ang daming unnecessary material things. Like for me, I have a closet full of shoes na never kong magagamit, lalo na yung mga high heels. Siguro na-agnes na sila at nabubulok na. A lot of people have been decluttering and clearing out things and maybe selling them. That's a very good idea. And realizing we don't really need so many possessions. And when you think about it, paano nyo na-accumulate lahat ng mga possessions na yun? Kasi it's such a consumerist culture, di ba? Bili lang tayo ng bili. I don't know ngayon kasi ang daming home shopping, di ba? A lot of people are also accumulating things. Pero parang nag-shift na to houseware. But yeah, I have a friend na addict siya sa designer bags and designer shoes and designer wallets. So nag-inventory siya, and then nung inadapt niya lahat ng mga designer bags niya and designer status symbols na hindi naman pala kailangan eh. Nung inanalyze niya, bakit ba siya nang bili ng bili? Because it came from a need, an internal need. Like feeling na tuwing bibili siya ng the latest designer bag na 6 figures, feeling niya pag sinuot niya, he belongs, feeling niya social siya, feeling niya it's a sign na he is successful and he has arrived. But then nung nagka-lockdown at inipon-ipon niya lahat, na-realize niya he can buy another van or a truck, or not a truck, a van. Sabi niya kasi, oh my God, nung inadapt niya yung amount na spinend niya, pwede siya makabili ng sasakyan. Imagine, yun mas useful pa. Although ngayon, hindi masyadong useful kasi nasa bahay lang tayo. But yeah, na-realize niya na he kept accumulating status symbols such as designer bags to prove na successful siya, to prove that he belongs in the circles that he needed acceptance in, to prove to himself na reward niya yun. Like every time he would buy, I work so hard, reward ko to. Tapos nung binaba na niya lahat ng mga kahon, not only was there no more storage space, pag inadapt mo nga, ang laking amount, di ba? So, wow, what do we need them for when push comes to shove, and then now that we're just trapped at home? Wala siyang use, di ba? I'm not saying wag na mag-shopping ever, because sometimes you really need like to boost your spirits, but rethink what you spend on and think if there's a better way for that money to be put to better use. Maybe now that we can see how we are lucky and the others are suffering, you know, if one designer bag can feed a whole barangay, oh my gosh, sana mabusog na lang yung barangay na nangangailangan na yun. I'm not trying to make anyone feel guilty, but just rethink. And what else don't we need? I have a lot of friends who are in the beauty industry, mga may-ari ng salon, and they really suffered a lot in the beginning, especially yung mga kaibigan ko na mga staff ng salon, mga nagmamanicure, pedicure, threading, gumugupit ng hair. So when we were on lockdown and the salons were closed, I learned how to cut my own bangs. Baku-baku nga lang. Diba? I didn't need a manicure for 8 months. So kahit mukhang paano ng kabayo, suffer na lang. Bili ako na lang ng oil para ma-moisturize. What else? I'm sure a lot of us are dying for a massage. And now the salons are open and they're really implementing protocols. But I guess we learned that maybe we didn't need, we need pampering and we need maintenance. Some of us maybe realized there are things we can do on our own pala to save money. And some of us realized iba rin ang salon experience kasi you really feel pampered and you really look better. So iba, nasa sa atin na yun, but that's a good way to see what we need and don't need, or what are the non-negotiables for us or not. For example, my husband na medyo manipis na yung hair niya, natuto ako na mag-shave sa hair niya kasi medyo buzz cut naman siya. Pero he realized he didn't really need to get a haircut every week. Of course, it looks better, but Pwede pa sir na yung amateur job na ginagawa ko by shaving the back of his head. So, yun. What else do we not need or need? Did we really need to, ano pa yung mga gastos natin? A lot of us learned how to cook. A lot of us learned how to cook and cook well or even make a business out of it. I'm not saying don't eat in restaurants because they really need our help. The restaurant industry is really, really suffering, and thousands of staff and workers can really need all the help they can get. For example, my husband's in the restaurant industry and they really need a boost. But a lot of us discovered skills, our own skills. We learned that we can cook. We learned that we can cook healthy. We learned that we can probably eat better by controlling what we eat. We learned that we can save money by cooking at home also. But for a while, parang nagkaroon ng cooking fever, diba? And everyone was just getting food delivered, all kinds of food. And then after a while, ako nung umpisa, di ba, parang may cooking frenzy. So I was ordering vegetables, I was ordering groceries, and then cooking hanggang napagod rin tayo, and then delivery na lang. And I think I gained weight from all that cooking, lalo na yung mga carbs, di ba? Daming gumagawa ng bread, daming gumagawa ng sourdough, ube cheese, pandesal. I think marami rin. There's this weight gain syndrome that people are calling the pandemic 15. Di ba? May freshman 15, which pertains to the weight that you gain when you enter college. Meron daw pandemic 15 for the 15 pounds that you gained during the pandemic. So I'm going to take a break to say hello. Jessie J, hello po. Andre, thank you for the halo. Andre, kapangalan ng asawa ko. Andre 1784 just followed me. Thank you. Stephanie Ignacio just followed me. Thank you. How about you, Stephanie? What did you realize that you don't really need much of, or that you don't really need the material things? Put it in the comments below, and then maybe we can talk about it. Thank you to FMD45 for following me. How about you, FMD? Anong na-realize mo na hindi mo pala kailangan? Next. Nagbago yung measurement ng wealth. Of course, money is money, and money can help a lot of us live better. But what did we realize? We realized other kinds of wealth, such as time, di ba? Before, maybe you're rich in money, but poor in time. Like you never have time for your loved ones, or you never have time to do the things that you really love and really make you happy. And then during the lockdown, we realized time is all we had. We were so rich in time. There was so much time and not enough Netflix series to watch, not enough exercises to do, not enough dishes to cook. I think we realized our wealth in time. And also, what did we realize? No matter how rich you are, if you don't have your health, you're not really that well off, right? Because health is wealth. And then also friends. A lot of friends. Oh, so very true, said Angie3669. How about you, Angie? What did you realize you don't really need much of, and what did you learn to appreciate? So maybe if we're not rich in money, we're rich in time right now. Use the time wisely. We're rich in health. So we really all tried to get healthy. We tried to boost our immune system by eating right and taking vitamins and getting rest and sleep and trying to keep our mental health in check, because we realize that health is actually wealth. Also, friends provided support and helped with a sense of isolation, di ba? Parang if you're not pala rich in money, but you're rich in friends, you're very rich indeed. But then now we know that we don't really need that many friends. I mean, it's great to have many friends, but maybe we became more choosy about the meaningful friendships that we have in our lives, right? You don't really need, I know that we want a lot of followers. We want thousands of followers. So Angie said, don't waste your time. Yes. So Angie, what did you do so you don't waste your time? Ano yung mga things that you stop wasting your time on? For me, I keep trying not to waste my time on overthinking, but I keep failing. Kasi when you're alone, talagang isip ka ng isip, di ba? So I really waste a lot of time worrying and overthinking. This is something I really strive to correct. Wait, where was I? Friends, right? We learn to be more choosy with our friends. Not to say that we are unfriending people, but now we know that it's not the quantity but the quality of our friendships. I know we all strive for likes and follows and followers and Facebook friends, but hindi siya contest ng paramihan, pero rather, sino yung nandun for you in your time of need, di ba? Sino yung maasahan mo to help you? Let's say you pivoted because you lost your job and then you have a new business. Who's gonna help you? Your friends, di ba? Sila yung unang bibili ng mga tinda mo. Sila yung unang magsusuporta sa'yo. So, I think it's good to refocus your efforts on those who really support you. Like, for example, oh, Angie said, reach out. True, true, true. Hello, Jovinium, newbie here, F to F, and you, sir, and Rose Loriaga. Thank you, thank you. Ay, nasan na ako? Friends, right. So for me, I'm so new to this live streaming business. I started on Facebook and I have two other shows. I have TikTok and Ask Miss Mears. It's on Facebook and YouTube, and I also live stream on Kumu. But now that I'm on Kumu, this is such a new thing to me, and I never realized I could talk straight for what? Oh my gosh, 30 minutes na akong nagsasalita. 1 hour to go. So I never realized that I could do this pala, but thanks to friends I made along the way who are always supporting me. I really take note like nung umpisa nung other two shows ko, there were people na talagang comment ng comment, showing encouragement, showing support, and every little comment or like really helps, especially when this is such a scary thing to do because it's out of my comfort zone and such a new thing to me. I'm used to writing, not talking. And so in the beginning, I was so scared, but I just jumped off the cliff and did it. And now I have maybe over 75 episodes in my other two shows. And I've really taken note of all the people who constantly, consistently are liking and sending comments and showing support or even sending me PMs to say, I like what you're doing. This is what I like about you. Maybe they'll also give feedback about how to improve. And I've really taken note of that. And I really try to support them also in their efforts. Napaka-importante nun. Friends and health. Hello to Angie from Glendale, California. And she said it's her first time here. So welcome, Angie. And thank you. How about you, Angie? What else did you realize you're rich in besides time, health, and friends, right? What else did you realize that you're rich in pala? Maybe you're also rich in money. So good for you. But as we know, there are other kinds of wealth. So this is also related to what Angie said. Don't waste time. Carpe diem life. What does carpe diem mean? It means suck the marrow out of life, right? Like really take advantage of every second and nanosecond of time and be intentional about every action. I know there were days in the beginning of the lockdown where I really couldn't move. Like I was so catatonic. Nakahiga lang ako sa couch and I was so depressed and sad and unable to take any action that I just wasted time, in my opinion. Pero hindi pala yun time wasting. Recovery time pala yun, and just giving yourself self-care in order to go through your grief and go through all the things that you're feeling. Oh, Angie. Oh, no, not at all money. Well, we all need some. But right now, if we don't have some or don't have much, let's appreciate other kinds of wealth. So be intentional about every action that you take, di ba? Maybe for some, whenever we wake up. Now, I'm reading a lot of things and watching a lot of videos which say that in order to keep your anxiety in check and to be in a better mental state in the morning, we should really thou not open our phone the first thing in the morning that we open our eyes, and then just like get drowned in social media. There are times when we drown in social media for what seems like hours and hours and hours, and sometimes it's productive, sometimes it's not. So yun, take stock of how you spend your time. Like if you spend 3 hours on social media without your knowing it, is it better to spend that time on, let's say, working out or learning a new skill or taking a webinar or, finding a more productive way of spending time? A lot of uh, us too, and maybe, well, me, like I said, I waste a lot of time overthinking and worrying. I think bata pa lang ako, pinanganak na akong nag-aalala. Like if you look at all my childhood pictures, in every picture, nakakunot yung noo ko. Parang lahat ng picture ng bata ko, nakaganyan ako. Because I'm always worrying. I'm always worrying about the future, always worrying, baka ganyan, baka ganito, baka ganyan. And then my husband, who's very chill and laid back, hindi siya worrier at all. And then natatawa lang siya, and then he keeps telling me, stop worrying, you're just wasting your time. Walang point kung mag-worry ka kasi for what? 'Di ba? It's not even proactive. You're just filling your headspace with unnecessary thoughts that don't help, 'di ba? Instead of worrying, think of what you can do. If there's nothing you can do about it, there's no sense worrying. So that's what I waste my time on. And she said, you're not really wasting your time because your body needs to rest or take time. That's what I learned too, because I was very unkind to myself. Because I am I'm really very hard on myself. I don't want to say perfectionist, but before in the past, I thought when you say you're a perfectionist, nagmamayabang ka kasi parang feeling mo ang taas ng standards mo and gusto mo perfect. Actually, flaw pala ang perfectionism because there's a difference between striving for excellence and being a perfectionist. And when you're a perfectionist, sometimes unrealistic na yung standards and you don't give yourself enough credit. So that's the kind of person I have always been, and I'm trying to unlearn some very negative, we're the same, some very negative perfectionist tendencies. Kasi I'm not blaming my parents, and I'm very thankful for the way they brought me up, but I had what you call helicopter parents or dragon parents, where they really push, push, push. They push me to excel. They push me to be the best. They push me to do everything I could. Sa kaka-push nila, I entered grade school at age 5. I finished at age 11. I finished high school at age 14. By age 18, I was working already as a computer programmer in SGV. I'm not blaming them. I'm thankful that they pushed me to have high standards and strive for excellence. But I grew up with this mindset where my own inner critic tells me, you're not good enough. This is not good enough. This is not good enough in everything that I do. And it's very, very detrimental to my mental health because the early days of lockdown, parang pagtingin mo sa feed mo, oh my God, everyone's achieving so much. Like, I'm eating all this bread and they're all working out and now they have a six-pack. Or, oh my God, my friend just wrote a book. She used all that time to write a book. Or my friend did this and did that, because I kept comparing. And like I always like to impart to my followers, comparison is the thief of joy. I know it very well, but I can't help it. And so when we hold ourselves to standards that are unrealistic and we don't give ourselves a break, or we don't give ourselves enough credit about our own pace, and if we think that life is a race, we really waste time in unnecessary worry and overthinking. Oh, Angie said, really? Whoa. If you're pertaining to my my finishing school early, it had it had advantages and disadvantages. In the long run, I'm not sure it was really an advantage kasi maturity-wise, I was always the youngest in whatever group I was. So let's say, bago ako pinayagan to attend a party, third year college na ako, but then I was only 17, and then my parents even accompanied me. And then all my friends were already early 20s. So, hindi rin. So, we can talk more about that in another episode. But let's go to number 8. Yes, happiness is a choice. Change what needs to be changed. What did we realize during the lockdown? If you're not happy, you can do something about it, di ba? They're saying maraming relationships or marriages na nag-split up or nag-breakdown. I'm not saying that's a good thing. Marami rin naging close together as a couple. But I think people realize that if life is short and you only have each other, if you're not right for each other, maybe it's time to make a change. Because if life is short, are you going to suffer for the rest of your life? And I'm not just talking about romantic relationships, but in general, what is making you happy or unhappy, di ba? In the same way that we're editing our clutter, we're editing shoes we don't need, bags we don't need, trinkets we don't need. Maybe it's time to edit people who don't bring us joy, di ba? If you watch Marie Kondo on Netflix, does it spark joy, di ba? You take every object and say, does it spark joy? If not, you recycle it or give it away. The same inventory could be done for people in our lives. And ultimately, happiness is a choice. And you have to be brave enough to make changes and not just suffer, which brings us to practicing boundaries. In our culture, di ba, pag Pinoy ka, we are raised to really respect our elders, follow authority, di ba? We're trained to sometimes blindly follow elders, even if they're not in the right, diba? But then now things are changing. I mean, you do what works for you. You follow the principles and philosophies that ultimately help you in your own life. And by practicing boundaries, this only means intentionally doing the things that make you happy. And if it doesn't make you happy, then you have every right to say no. Diba? Sometimes may mga requests yung parents or relatives or even like people at work, superiors. Of course, superiors, you follow your superiors. Diba? But sometimes if there's, for example, an abuse in, or not naman abuse, but minsan pag they can see that ikaw yung pwedeng tambakan ng work. Minsan, yung iba naman kasi pwede rin bigyan ng work, pero kung sa'yo natatambak lagi, tapos unfair na, you have every right to say no. You have every right to practice your boundary. What's another way of practicing boundaries? Let's say you have a family member that gives you stress. You can practice your boundary. You don't have to answer the phone every time they call because you know it will just bring you pain or sadness. Maybe you've tried to talk to that family member and still they inflict pain upon you. You have every right to set a boundary. Kahit pamilya mo pa yun, di ba? Hindi naman sa disrespect, but you have to respect yourself first in the end. And you have every right to say no to things that are situations that make you unhappy. So yun, like before, diba, we're always pressured. Let's say, nagkaayaan yung barkada, tara, labas tayo. If you don't feel like going, minsan na-pressure ka rin to go. You have every right to beg off and say, well, not tonight. Wala akong funds masyado, or I'd rather do this other thing, diba? Try to be more assertive about what you really want in life. Yun, minsan rin. Well, ngayon medyo walang mga reunion, walang mga gimmick. But I'm sure marami ring mga Zoom parties, diba? Let's say pagod ka na, kaka-Zoom party, or there are people you'd really rather not see. You can practice your boundaries and say, sorry, not this time. I'm busy during this time. And you don't have to think of an excuse. Like for me, problema ko yun eh. Let's say, ayokong mag-attend ng something. Mag-isip ako ng excuse to show na hindi ko fault. Like, sorry, gusto ko talagang pumunta, pero may ganito kasi ako or inassign kasi ako ng mami ko ng magganto. Kasi nakaka-guilty naman talaga, di ba? And when we're like trying to be nice, we don't offend feelings. It's really a struggle to just say, I'd rather not. I'm still working on that, right? I don't know if a lot of you guys are upfront and confident enough to say, I'd rather not. I have better things to do. You don't have to be rude, but yeah, we have to practice that. Because ultimately, you have to love yourself first. We're so used to putting ourselves last, especially to all the moms out there. Hats off really to you, because usually if you're a mom in a family, you put your needs last and everybody else's first. And my gosh, I cannot imagine how much you're suffering and bearing the brunt of everyone's needs and stress. But ultimately, you need to prioritize your own needs and take care of yourself and love yourself first. I know it's hard because you take care of your children before yourself, right? But what do they say when you're on a plane, diba? The flight attendant will say, before you attend to your child, attend to yourself first. In case of an emergency, you put on your life vest first before you can attend to your child, because you cannot be effective in taking care of others if you don't take care of yourself first. We hear this all the time and it's easier said than done, but ultimately, you have to put yourself first. You are number one because it's your life, right? And even if you have loved ones and you are responsible for their well-being, you have to look out for yourself before you can effectively care for others. Mig Stanzo, ganyan ako, Miss Myrza. Same with Nikita. Ano yung ganyan ako? What do you mean? Dun sa ayaw magsabi ng totoo kung di mag-attend? I say no. Okay, yeah. It's hard to say no, di ba? Especially in ha ha ha, pag di ko kaya. O yun! Pengen naman ng tips kung paano pag di mo kaya. What do you say? Hirap kasi minsan, di ba? And my husband, who is half American, he's always saying, why don't you just say you can't? You have another thing planned. Parang kakahiya. Hirap talaga, mahirap. But at least we miss you too. At least I'm able to say no and not always yes, even if sometimes I'm inventing an excuse. Could be true naman, di ba? I'm not saying I'm lying, baka mabuking ako ng mga... Because I have plans na talaga prior to this event. Tama, even if your plan is to watch K-drama, di ba? That's still a plan. Okay. Learn to love your own company. We're so afraid to be alone kasi. And then, during the pandemic, I guess na-realize natin, especially yung mga nakatira alone, oh my gosh, you really have to learn to love your own company, because this is such an important skill. Nikita joining last time from Miss Hawaii. Hi, Nikita, if you're watching, anong oras ba dyan sa Hawaii? Yes, we're gonna support Nikita in her last bid to join Miss Hawaii. Nikita McElroy. Kat season. Season, yes. Magkamag-anak ba tayo? Tagasa ng parents mo. My dad is from Lingayen, Pangasinan. Baka Panggaloto ka rin. Okay, what was I saying? Learn to love your own company. Mahirap, di ba? Mahirap maging mag-isa. And parang Pinoys are so socially oriented. We always have communities and we always have a barkada. Many of us have a hard time being alone, but it's such a good skill to have because you learn self-reliance, you learn to be strong on your own, you learn to be independent. And when you learn to love your own company, you also get to know yourself better. And self-awareness is so important as a life skill, because from self-awareness stems everything in life. Your confidence stems from it, your sense of fearlessness, your sense of um, what ability to believe in yourself stems from self-awareness. So use this time that you're alone to learn to love your own company. There's so many ways, diba? Just go to YouTube University and you can find so many things to learn about learning to love your own company. Don't be afraid to be alone. Lagi tayong may friend, and for a while it was me, na they're saying, itong si friend ko na to, hindi siya nababakante. Lagi siyang may boyfriend or girlfriend. Sunod, 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 sunod. That's why they say, ang tawag dyan, um, serial monogamist. Kasi hindi nababakante. Sometimes these people, they're just afraid to be single. They're afraid to be on their own. So minsan, kahit na hindi suitable yung partner, boyfriend or girlfriend, nagbo-boyfriend or girlfriend na lang sila kasi hindi nila matake to be alone. And sometimes they don't learn the things that you should when you're alone, like learning your own capabilities, learning your own flaws, and learning your own assets and liabilities. Minsan you really need the time alone without a boyfriend or a girlfriend to really dig deep inside and see what it's like to be on your own. I'm not saying hiwalayan nyo yung boyfriend or girlfriend nyo, but try and carve some alone time if lagi kayong may kasama. Kasi talagang self-introspection and self-awareness are really important skills to have. Season OMGGG. Ano yung sabihin nun? Are we related? Are you from Pangasinan also? May tinapay ko, sanayan lang yan. Ang alin, being alone. Yes, so true. Jazz Lion. May tinapay. Even if you have a BF husband, you need me time. So true, di ba? Try also to listen to your own thoughts. Di ba? Minsan, dami nating iniisip, we cannot hear ourselves think. I think that has helped me a lot is journaling. Just really writing what's in your head. Minsan, balisang-balisa tayo sa mga worries natin about life. Di ba? Parang ang daming thoughts na nag-cross, paano na yung ganyan, paano na yung ganyan. Hindi tayo makaisip. Something I learned from a book called The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron is what she calls morning pages, where when you wake up in the morning, you get a notebook, and then whatever's in your head, 3 pages. You just write. Do not censor the grammar or your bad penmanship. Lahat lang ng nasa brain mo, idadump mo sa paper. Lahat ng pumapasok sa utak mo. Don't worry about whether pangit yung sulat mo or not, or kung may makakabasa, hopefully walang makakabasa. So dump everything from your brain to the paper, and then lalabas lahat. And then before you know it, if you inculcate this as a daily habit, you will find that your mind is clear kasi nailabas mo lahat, di ba? Minsan, wala tayong outlet. So minsan, nang-aaway tayo ng partner or nang-aaway tayo ng anak or friend when hindi naman kailangan. So, sulat nga lang lahat. Or if you don't wanna write, maybe you can talk into a recorder and then just do a brain dump on the recorder. It's really good catharsis. So, learn to love your own company, love your own thoughts, appreciate your own thoughts, and I recommend doing a brain dump every morning after you do the real dump in the toilet. You do a brain dump of your thoughts on paper, 3 pages every morning, or talking to your recorder. Pero parang mas okay yung sinusulat kasi iba rin yung connection ng mind and writing. Studies have shown that people who take notes by longhand retain things better than people who type it on a keyboard. So give it a try. Brain dump every morning. What did we learn? We are capable of more than we think. This is really true in my case. I think the whole country has shown how capable we are of handling a situation. Granted na those who are in charge of making the solutions have not always come up with the best solutions. I think as a people, Pinoys have shown that there's so many things we can do and we're so resourceful. And I'm not glamorizing resilience again, but we realize that we are more creative and more capable of solutions than we think. In my case, may tinapay ko, masarap mag-shopping mag-isa. Totoo yun, hindi ako makapag-shopping pag may tao. Kahit na asawa ko yung kasama ko, I'll say, kita na lang tayo dyan in 2 hours. Kasi hindi ko kayang may nagsasalita behind me or kahit na friend saying, giving feedback, hindi ko kaya. I need to shop alone. Well, these days, I'm trying not to shop at all. Kasi parang na-realize ko, ang dami kong binili na hindi ko naman kailangan. So I'm trying not to shop at all. But yun, shopping is an activity where I need to be alone. A lot of us, going back to learn to love your own company. In the old world, diba, I know a lot of people na ayaw makitang kumakain mag-isa. Kasi parang isipin ng mga tao, mukha silang tanga or mukha silang kawawa, wala ba silang friend. That's not true. Even as early as I can remember, kahit nung early 20s pa ako, hindi ako takot kumain mag-isa. Hindi ako takot actually manood ng movie mag-isa kung gusto ko yung movie. Kasi maybe I already love my own company and I didn't really care what people think. Because it's nice to get lost in your own thoughts once in a while. So don't be afraid about how you're going to look or what people will say. In fact, don't really care what people will say. I think I forgot to include that here. Hi po from Crisostomo. Hi to Azila Naravillo. Thank you for the halo-halo and the tissue. Hello to Justin Ruel. Thank you for all the halo-halo. Yon. So we are capable of more than we think. Yon, for me, I was so not a techie, but my desire to actually have talk shows, kasi dream ko talaga magka-talk show ever since, pero to shortcut it, I took advantage of all the live streaming of people, and I was inspired by some of my friends who just started posting videos of themselves talking. So brave, diba? They didn't really care what people said. So I was really inspired and said, kung kaya nila, kaya ko to. So I turned out to be more capable of more than what I thought, because hindi ko alam yung tech, pero inaral ko siya, humingi ako ng advice. I didn't know how to buy lights or what lights to use. Although ngayon medyo parang challenge pa yung lighting ko, medyo orange ako. Tsaka medyo mukhang multo. Pero I'm trying. So yun, I learned to adapt along the way. I learned how to do StreamYard. I learned how to post on YouTube. Ang dami kong natutunan. And pwede palang gawa ng paraan ang lahat. And I'm sure kayo rin, marami kayong na-realize. What did you realize na capable pala kayo of doing? So, may tinapay ko from Alberta, Canada. What did you realize you're capable of doing na hindi mo akalain noon? I want to ask the same question to Crisostomo. What did you realize during the lockdown na you're capable of doing this pala, hindi mo alam, di ba? I didn't know I was capable of, maybe I'm not so capable, but I'm really trying, of talking so much for an hour and a half. Thank you to 56430351 for following me. 13, invest in yourself. Knowledge is power. What did we learn during the pandemic? Knowledge is really power. Kasi pag trap na tayong lahat, and wala tayong magawa, it's really our expertise that comes across. It's our skills and expertise that we can earn from or make a living from, or what we will be called upon to contribute, right? Parang naging equalizer yung pandemic kasi kung sino ang may skill, siya yung natatap, di ba? And so, if there are skills you want to improve on or develop, there's no shortage of courses or things to learn. There's really a lot of free stuff on YouTube or even in Kumu. Like, I'm not sure if I'm inspiring all of you, but I'm hoping that you're learning something here. But really, use this time to invest in yourself, develop yourself. There's so many free webinars on Facebook. There's so many things really we can learn, and read a lot. There's so many things to read. Um, my tinapay ko said, I learned how to use the sewing machine during the pandemic. That's great. Hindi ka ba marunong manahin noon? And what have you sewn? Meron ka bang mga natahi na pinagkakitaan mo? That's something that I would love to learn how to sew because I remember in grade school, sa sobrang palpa ko manahe, meron kaming embroidery class, I think grade 5 ako. Sa kaka embroider ko, sobrang mali-mali na yung ginagawa ko, di ba? Repeat, repeat, repeat. Nabutas na yung binubird ako, and then I think bagsak ako. So, sewing is something I would love to learn. May tinapay ko, I learned how to sew a mask and curtains. Oh my God, I'm sure nakatipid ka. Curtains, medyo major yan ah. How did you even know? How did you learn? Did somebody teach you? Did you go to YouTube University, my favorite university? How do you even know how to do that? Yes, YouTube. O, di ba? I have a friend na even before the pandemic, I think 20 years ago, she became a housewife in Japan, and while her husband worked, she had twin boys, and she didn't know no help. She didn't know anything. She learned so many things on YouTube. She learned how to bake, how to cook, how to sew, how to clean. And 20 years ago ba may YouTube na? Basta, yun ang sinabi niya. Sa YouTube siya natuto ng lahat ng skills. You want to invest in yourself and use this time. In fact, I'm so thankful for this time kasi nakapag-writing workshop ako to improve my writing. Every day I'm following some form of guru or teacher on YouTube, and I read a lot. I'm really thankful for this time that we have, and I was kind of worried na pag hindi na pandemic, pag tapos na yung quarantine and life goes back to normal, I won't have time anymore. So I'm really trying to learn things, di ba? Maski parang a lot of people have become life coaches. Ang daming courses na pwedeng aralin. A lot of people have become marketing gurus or selling online courses. There's so many things you can learn talaga. Gardening is another thing. Everyone's now a plantito or a plantita. And they're learning how to garden because, nurturing a life is also life enhancing. Live in the moment. Don't stress about the past or the future. So hard to do, di ba? So hard to appreciate every moment. Like, when lockdown happened, did you find yourself looking back on old memories and really appreciating, like, when you look back on Facebook memories, di ba may mga picture of 1 year ago, 5 years ago, you were with your friends in ganyan, you're at the beach in ganyan. So many memories when you look back. Wow, you wish you really lived in the moment and treasured every single encounter and moment. Because the present is really all we have. If life is short, we don't know what's going to happen in the future. And there's no use stressing about the past. I don't know if it was Lao Tzu who said, when you are depressed, it's because you're living in the past. You're always thinking about your past or glorifying the past or thinking or feeling that you wish things were not this way, but a certain thing that you're referring to in the past. And when you're anxious, you're living in the future. That's me, because you're worrying about what will happen in the future, right? You're always filling your head with thoughts about what could happen or could not happen in the future. And the antidote to that is really to live in the moment and treasure and not take for granted everything that has happened. Like right now, I'm having a bonding moment with all of you, and I'm so very thankful to the over 1,000 people who are watching me right now. My tinapay ko said, I can spend more time with my kids and cook for them now that I'm working from home. Yes, working from home. has been such a good thing and a bad thing, right? Especially in the Philippines where commuting takes up 2 or more hours of our time. Imagine those hours that could have been spent towards more productive things. Working from home became the norm, and now everyone knows that, wow, you can work from home pala, and we don't really need physical presence for everything. I mean, it's important for some things, but we learn that things can be accomplished more efficiently pala if we met through technology, and we just run meetings more efficiently instead of like getting together physically and making daldalan and kwentuhan hanggang maubusan ng time. So working from home taught us actually how to make better use of our time. 15, release resentment. Pakawalan na yung mga grudges, di ba? I mean, forgive but don't forget. I'm not saying forgive everything, but when you hold a grudge or when you hold resentment, ang nahihirapan lang ikaw, di ba? Eh kung natapos na 'di ba? Kung di mo mapatawad talaga, wag. Pero kung pwede naman, free yourself from the mental space that your resentment is uh, giving you. It's like, what did they say about resentment? It's like drinking a poison, trying like you're drinking a poison but you're trying to watch your enemy die, but actually ikaw yung namamatay. And pick your battles. Lahat ba ng annoyance or irritation kailangan patulan? Hindi naman, di ba? Pick your battles na lang. Think of what's bothering you. Will this thing matter tomorrow, next week, in 5 years, in 10 years? Kung di naman, pakawalan mo na, di ba? I'm not saying accept mediocrity or accept inefficiency. I mean, fight for your rights and stand up for what you believe in. But if there are grudges or resentments or annoyances or irritations na hindi kailangan patulan, sayang lang yung time, sayang lang yung headspace na na-occupy niya. And then practice the serenity prayer. I don't know if all of you know it, but it's a very important prayer to have. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference, di ba? What can't you change? Can we change na may pandemic? Hindi. They're developing a vaccine, but it's not gonna change the fact na nandyan pa rin siya, di ba? So, what can you change? You can change the way you deal with it. You can change the way you stop yourself from catching it by following protocols and being safe, and the wisdom to know the difference. So, yun, this is also a note to self because I tend to worry and overthink. I always have to think of what can I change and what can I not change. So try to develop a proactive approach to problems, di ba? Kung wala talagang magagawa, wala talagang magagawa. Which is not to say wag maghanap ng solution dahil laging may magagawa. But just pray the serenity prayer. Hello to Mamang Pasaway. And Pasaway, Mamang Pasaway. Don't be afraid to ask for help and ask for what you want, 'di ba? Wag nang mahiya. I mean, if you need help in whatever you need to achieve, ask for help. Like I was very scared to ask for help to get into Kumu, but and I was kind of shy about it, but I found my way to get the help, and I'm thankful for people like Nadine and Angelo and Ange and Carla for giving me the opportunity, but I would not have gotten the help I needed if I did not ask for help. So yun, just swallow your pride and your shyness and ask for help. Ask for what you want. Kasi minsan, ano ba yung sinabi ko sa talk ko last Wednesday? Daig ng matapang ang magaling. Di ba una, daig ng masipag ang matalino. Minsan, hindi naman ikaw yung pinakamatalino, pero ang sipag mong mag-aral. So, daig mo minsan yung matalino. And daig ng matapang yung magaling. Minsan, ang galing-galing niya, pero ikaw yung matapang na humingi ng chance na makuha yung gusto mo. So, don't be afraid to ask for help. What did we learn most of all? To be kind to others, to raise our EQ more than IQ. So, what did we learn? We're all just people, we're all just humans, and we all can use the help and compassion for one another to stay alive and exist in harmony. So reach out, try to help in whatever way you can, try to support each other, understand people and where they're coming from. Diba? A lot of fights and wars and disagreements really stem from the fact that people are all different from different backgrounds, and uh, iba rin yung kinalakihan nila or kinamulat nila, which influences their actions. So minsan understanding lang talaga. And always, this has always helped me. Assume positive intention, right? Huwag mong isipin lagi na itong si ano, evil talaga eh. Gusto lang niya akong pahirapan eh. I try to assume na they're coming from a place of positivity, di ba? They're just trying to help. Don't assume na ginagago ka lang or, sorry, inom ako. They're out to make your life a living hell. If you assume positive intention, I think things will be better kasi hindi mo mamasamain yung mga intention nila. I mean, granted may taong masama talaga, but I think kahit sila, hindi nila iniisip na masama sila, iniisip nila na they have the best intentions. May tinapay ko says, say kind words to others. Yeah, so important, di ba? Minsan cheesy, pero important kasi if you have been touched by the kindness of others, try and pay it forward by being kind to others also. So yun, kindness. And yun, EQ nga sometimes is more important than IQ. So ano yung dadagdag ko dun sa ano, lamang. Minsan lamang ng mabait ang magaling. So minsan it's not really the most magaling person, pero yung mabait, nare-reward din ng kabutihan kahit papano. 18, secure your future, especially financially. I'm sure we all got like a rude awakening about this. Who were the people who did better or cope better? If you had savings and you planned for your future, if you lost your job, at least you had like a nest egg to get money from. So I think now more than ever, we have learned na kailangan talagang paghahandaan yung future. 19, think outside the box. So yeah, 2020 has been a year of learning how to approach problems a different way. Diba? The old ways were not always suitable anymore, and we found a way to pivot and think of alternate solutions and think of other ways to solve problems. So if there's a skill also that's very important to bring from 2020 to 2021, it's think outside the box, diba? Really rack your brain, ano pa ang new way na pwedeng isolve itong problemang ito. And there are always other ways, many ways. My tinapay ko said, have a plan B and C. I like your way of thinking, di ba? I know I said, don't stress about the future, but plan for the future, right? Don't stress about it, but be proactive. I mean, do something about it. Hindi naman sa live in the moment, pero isasawalang bahala mo na lang yung future na bahala na kung paano ko makakope. Eh, kung na-hospital ka, tas wala kang pera, di ba? Yan ang kalagayan ng marami. So it really is worth it to plan for the future and do something about the future. And once you have done something about it, then don't worry about it. That's what I mean. And then in the end, whatever happens, whatever you did it your way. You made decisions based on the best of your abilities during that situation. In the end, do not regret anything. Tapos na, di ba? No use crying over spilled milk. No use ruminating about the past or blaming yourself or blaming your parents or blaming your ex-husband or blaming your ex-boyfriend or whoever. Past is past. Move on. But learn from past mistakes, especially from history. Bakit nagkakaproblema yung Pilipinas? Kasi we're not nga learning from our history. Sometimes history nga is distorted and warped and we don't learn what really happened, but we need to learn from our past mistakes. For example, every year may typhoon, every year may baha. Every year nagugulat tayo, every year nasasalanta ang marami. I'm not saying hindi magkakaroon ng bagyo, pero kung every year nagkakaroon, bakit hindi natin pinagplaplanuhan or ginagawa ng solusyon para ma-curtail yung baha or para mag-put ng measures in place para hindi lahat mamatay, di ba? We're not learning from our past mistakes. And I'm sure throughout the history of the Philippines, nagkakabagyo na towards the end of the year or ngayon nga December and January na yung bagyo. But every year, we're caught unaware. Every year, na-erase yung memory natin because we're not learning from past mistakes, di ba? Places like Japan, very high-tech sila. They really learn from their situations. Like Japan is very earthquake prone. And so they build buildings which can withstand earthquakes because they're anticipating that the problem will come because they're learning from their past mistakes. And this can be applied in our lives too, not just in our history of the country and electing leaders na alam naman natin in the past na naging abusado yung mga ibang binigyan ng maraming power. Hindi tayo natututo or apply it in your own life. A lot of us who have relationship problems have patterns, di ba? You always have that friend, or maybe it's you, or maybe it was me, I don't know, who have a pattern of choosing unsuitable guys or girls, di ba? Like their friends na, bakit laging bad boy yung gusto niya? Hindi siya natututo sa past, di ba? Na pinaiyak lang siya, na, di ba, pinaiyak lang siya, or really hindi okay, di ba? Ayaw niya ng mabait, gusto niya lagi yung bad boy. Hindi siya natututo from her past. Eventually, with maturity comes wisdom, hopefully, and then you learn from your past mistakes. So, yun, regret nothing. Live life to the fullest. Do not berate yourself for making bad decisions, but learn from the past. So, yan ang ating top 20 lessons of 2020, and I hope you all learned a thing or two. Jez Lion, sana mas matuto tayong pahalagahan ang kalikasan. Isa pa yon, di ba? Parang lahat ng mga disaster na nangyayari is nature's revenge on how we have destroyed it. Now I even shudder to think about all the plastic and plastic from all the masks and all the plastic we are using to cope with the pandemic. We forgot about it pansamantala dahil yung mga oceans, di ba, na natatambakan ng plastic. Before the pandemic, nag-iingat na tayo about use of plastics, and then now, ayan na naman. So I really shudder to think about what the impact will be. So yun, pahalagahan ang kalikasan. Angie, oh no, I missed a lot. Minsan nasa humahawak sa kanyang nasasakupan. True also. Apyang Kadang just followed you. Thank you for following me. Oh my gosh. So many diamonds and hearts and halo-halo. Thank you so much. So yan, if you want a quick rundown, we can do it again. Pero I don't know if we have much time, so I will run down very quickly top 2020 lessons. Top 20 lessons of 2020. Life is short, set goals, but life is uncertain, pivot when needed. Appreciate who and what you have. Show and tell people that you love them. Be grateful, adopt an attitude of gratitude. We don't need much, especially material things. Time is gold, also health is wealth, and friends are wealth. Don't waste time, carpe diem life. Be intentional about every action. Here, happiness is a choice. If you're not happy, do something about it. Change what needs to be changed. Practice boundaries. Don't be afraid to say no. Always think of what you want and not what others want. Takes practice. Love yourself first, prioritize your needs, take care of yourself. Learn to love your own company. Don't be afraid to be alone. It's a skill. Learn to be independent, self reliant, and strong on your own. That way, you don't cling to somebody out of need. You don't get into relationships because you can't stand being alone. And you also um, develop self awareness just by listening to your thoughts and getting to know yourself at an intimate level. We learned that we are capable of more than we think, right? What other new skills can you develop? And um, sometimes we learn to rise to the occasion and see what hidden talents we have. Invest in yourself. Knowledge is power. There's nothing you cannot learn anymore. Just Google it. Live in the moment, right? Every minute is precious. Don't stress about the past or the future. And by that, I mean try to move on from the past and plan for the future. Do something about your future, especially financially, but don't stress about it. Release resentment, forgive but don't forget. And pick your battles. Huwag patulan lahat. Practice the serenity prayer, which is what? Who can type it in the comments below? You'll win a prize. Okay, I'll just say it. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Ask for help, ask for what you want. Be brave because it can enable the pursuit of an exciting life and save lives. So, yun, be kind to others. EQ is sometimes better than IQ. Reach out, try to help your fellow man. Have compassion, understand people, assume positive intention, right? Don't think that people are out to get you or do bad things. But don't be a doormat, right? Wag naman naive, di ba? Isipin mo rin, baka naman talagang masama yung tao. Secure your future, especially financially. Think outside the box. There's more than one way of doing something, and the things that used to work in the past sometimes don't work anymore. So always try to think outside of the box. And regret nothing but learn from past mistakes. Yon. And here is a good quote that I have from Haruki Murakami, the author of Kafka on the Shore. And once the storm is over, you won't remember how you made it through, but you managed to survive. You won't even be sure whether the storm is really over, but one thing is certain. When you come out of the storm, you won't be the same person who walked in. That's what the storm is all about. From Haruki Murakami, Kafka on the Shore. So replace storm with pandemic, and it really applies once the pandemic is over. You won't remember how you made it through, but you managed to survive. You won't even be sure whether the pandemic is really over, but one thing is certain: when you come out of the pandemic, you won't be the same person who walked in. That's what it's all about. So I hope you won't be the same person who walked into the pandemic. I hope that the lessons from 2020 will have changed us and transformed our lives, given us something to think about, so that when we walk over to 2021, we will be better equipped to deal with whatever new and exciting or terrifying challenges are thrown our way. So thank you, everyone. Everything happened because there's a purpose, according to Maria Katrina Sandra. You are so right. Thank you, everyone. This has been Myrza season. Thank you for joining me in Join Lang ng Join, and I'll see you very soon. Bye, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks a lot from Angie3669. Thank you to J Lo. Bravo, J Lo. Thank you to My Tinapay Ko. Thank you for tuning in all the way from Canada. Anong oras ba dyan? Carly Sanchez, thank you for following me. I hope you all follow me. Putting my information below So follow me on Kumu, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Myrza.com is my website, and also on YouTube. So hello to J Lo Bravo, JMJR Hi. Oh my gosh, so many diamonds and hearts and viewers. Thank you, everyone. I hope you learned something, and tell me what you want to learn about or what you want to talk about or chat about. Message me, and I'm sure we can talk about it. And appreciate all your questions and all your comments. And thank you for the support. Thank you talaga. Super happy. And I'll see you very soon. All right.